Welcome, first of all. And I'm FrancineParham, as all of you know. And the work that I do is I focus on the advancement of women in the workplace. So we know the statistics. We know 1 in 5 women are in the C-suite. We know 1 in 25 women of color, okay, even worse, even more dismal, are in positions of leadership and authority. Many of us talked last night about being the only one in the room, being the only woman in the room, being the only woman of color in the room. We have a lot of work to do. And we have a lot of work to do where we want you to walk away knowing things such as what your brand is about.
I think the biggest part of owning your brand is speaking your truth. When I'm working with clients on their LinkedIn profiles, this is the part that takes the most time because we're like, I just do my job. And we're like, no, like, let's get into the nitty-gritty.
We want you to be able to tell the right story. We've got some amazing women in here that are experts around storytelling.
So telling your story is a very powerful leadership tool because people don't want more information. We are flooded. We are drowning in data. What people want is to know that they can trust you, that they can follow you, that who you are, your authenticity, connects with them.
We want you to know and be able to talk about your network.
I'm going to tie in a lot of personal stories about how it is that I was able to not only build a network, but also be able to leverage that.
We also have the conversation about the advancement of women in the workplace and being an economic lever. We wanted to make this not only a learning environment for you, because I call this my professional development program, but we wanted to make this a place and space where you felt comfortable, where you felt included, where you felt that you could actually make a difference and have people make a difference for you. This is the intimacy that I choose to create. And so I was just happy to find a home. And this is our home for the day. So make yourself at home, please, ladies.
Hello, I'm Francine Parham, founder and CEO of FrancineParham & Company, a professional development organization specifically focused on the advancement of women and women of color in the workplace. My work is about helping women and women of color to position themselves and prepare to advance into roles of leadership and authority in the workplace. Welcome to the Sharpen Your Skills Professional Women's Advancement Summit held on my newly created Bright Talk channel titled Women in the Workplace. I'm super excited to be here with you today, and I thank you for joining me. The video you just watched was from October 2019, in which I started my work with a small group of professional women in Washington, D.C. Last year, I traveled throughout the U.S. on a mini tour resulting in a total of 65 coaches, professionals, and experts who joined me in a time span of 90 days, along with approximately 300 career women who attended this program deciding that their professional development was important to them. So when I returned to my home in December, I knew I had to continue to do this work, as so many women told me that they wanted to advance in their careers in their workplace, that they took their career progression super seriously, and that they wanted to really know and understand how to get started professionally. And they knew that it wasn't just about doing a good job. I was ready and super excited to get back to the work that I had started at the end of 2019. Then 2020 happened. As we know, so many things changed in the world. Many major events occurred that would forever change who we were, what we knew, what we thought we knew to be true, and even challenge the things that we stood for or thought that we stood for. Not only would our personal lives be changed forever, but our professional lives as well, including mine. For me, I had to make some decisions. I had to decide if I should continue my work and my personal commitment to helping women advance and women of color in the workplace, or simply stop for now. At a minimum, place my work on hold and wait to see what the many outcomes of things happening in the world would yield. But as I spoke with many of you who are here with me today, truly asking you if I should pause, the message came back to keep going, to not give up on the work that I had begun. Work that I had been doing long before it was discussed, long before any studies or research were done, or true acknowledgement that women and women of color were not being promoted into leadership positions. How did I know this? Because in the places and companies I worked for, in the meetings I often attended, there were few women or even fewer women of color who looked like me in those rooms or at those meetings. Most importantly, there were women and women of color that I witnessed that deserved to be promoted, and they were not. Fortunately, I had beat the odds. And when I tell people my professional story of how I simply started my career as a woman of color in the workplace, ultimately reaching the level of a global executive at 2 major well-known corporations, I'm simply told, Francine, you were probably at the right place at the right time. And I say to them, maybe I was, but I don't think so. See, I figured out early on in my career that it was much more than just doing a good job at work. It became what I now call mastering the unwritten rules and unspoken skills that the companies I worked for valued and were assigned to them that I was promotable. My 2020 tour was about sharing that information, helping others understand what I knew to be true and experienced myself. Also to share what some of those unwritten rules and unspoken skills were, in addition to having those who would attend begin to practice them, or at a minimum begin to understand the importance of them. Because I became not only someone who was in the room or at the table, I became one of the decision makers at the table, often along with other executives who often still did not look like me. So it ultimately came down to me knowing and realizing that I could not stop. I know that it is my obligation to do as much as I can, to share what I have been fortunate enough to learn, receive, and observe over time. And today's summit is all about that. It's about helping you become aware of and think of how you are going to put your professional advancement strategy into play, and think about the unwritten rules and unspoken skills that you need to master to advance in your career. This is what we're going to share today in our expert workshops, the panel discussions, the deep dive presentations, and at our virtual networking sessions later today. Again, I brought along with me a host of individuals who are experts in their own right, some of them who were with me in 2019. These individuals are known as best-selling authors, professional coaches, thought leaders, practitioners, executives, as well as those from academia that represent well-known universities such as Stanford, NYU, and Rutgers University. Their achievements are amazing. And what's most amazing about them is their professional and personal commitment to the advancement of women and women of color in the workplace, to your professional advancement in your workplace. So we've got a lot to accomplish at our summit today. And before we get started, I'd like you to hear from Sri Shivananda, Senior Vice President and Chief Technology Officer at PayPal, about his commitment and PayPal's commitment as our presenting sponsor in the advancement of women and women of color in the workplace. Many thanks to each of you here today, and here's to your professional success. Onward and of course upward. Thank you.
Being a woman in tech, I've learned to shrink my voice. I was never a person to ask questions in college. Everyone brings their own perspectives, and if you have a room of a bunch of white male engineers, you don't get that perspective.
Being a woman in tech, it's really important to be surrounded by people that support you, that see you for your value and what you can bring to the table. PayPal is definitely a place that does that not only for me, but all the other women in tech that I work with.
It's really nice to have someone loudly saying, "You're doing the right thing, keep going."
At PayPal, our mission is to democratize financial services around the world, right? To reimagine money. That's the reason I joined the company, first of all.
Our goal and vision is to reach 1 billion daily active users. That's our goal. I was in this journey to figure out how do you do more to put a dent on global poverty, leveling the playing field, because every human deserves dignity, and that's most important. And it feels incredible because the work of Consumer Financial Services team, my team particularly, we are passionate about solving those problems.
So I am half black and half white, so diversity is just inside of me. I was raised in kind of a lower class, and so I see the struggles that we're trying to solve. I found more of a voice within PayPal to figure out ways that I can mix my passion with coding and my passion for diversity. It is making the world a better place.
$530 million investment in black businesses, black nonprofits. I don't think I've ever been more proud.
Very inspirational. They are still the biggest donation that I have seen from a big company.
I think fintech is constantly evolving. It's a very competitive and interesting industry, and PayPal is always making sure that they're at the forefront of it. It's been a really great experience, and I'm really grateful, honestly, for how much I've grown because of it.
Hello everyone, I'm Sri Shivananda, the Senior Vice President and Chief Technology Officer at PayPal. I'm happy to be a part of Sharpen Your Skills Professional Women's Advancement Summit today. I was excited to receive the invitation to participate from Francine, and it's an honor to welcome you all to the summit. I'm excited to participate personally as an advocate and as an ally for women's professional development. And I'm proud to represent PayPal as presenting sponsor for the summit. Later today, I look forward to a capstone conversation and sharing insights along with Kelly Hannick, EVP from US Bank, Lisa Kapowitz, Assistant Professor, Executive Director of Women's Business Center at Rutgers Business School, and Ruth Uma, journalist at Forbes magazine, who will be our moderator. The discussion will be live between 4:15 and 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I hope you'll all join us. At PayPal, our core values shape how we conduct our business every single day. We hold ourselves to the highest ethical standards, to empower an open and diverse corporate culture, and strive to treat everyone who is touched by our business with dignity and respect. Our employees challenge the status quo, they ask questions, and they find solutions. We are committed to empowering talented people from every background and every perspective to thrive at PayPal. And when it comes to advancing women and women of color in technology, we know there's a lot of work to do, and we are taking the necessary steps. Through Unity, a PayPal employee resource group that encompasses employees from our global PayPal community, we focus on gender equality and gender balance. Unity brings together employees from all levels and dozens of teams throughout the company, working together to create more opportunities for women at PayPal. Unity's mission is to help women thrive, provide them with growth opportunities, and help the next generation explore the world of technology with a presence in more than 35 locations across the globe. Many of our employee resource group partners and subject matter experts provide inspiration and motivation by offering our colleagues opportunities to hear from them about their career journeys, in addition to providing a vast array of knowledge on a variety of career and professional development topics that apply to all of us every single day. So it was a treat for PayPal's Black Employee Resource Group, Amplify, along with Unity, our women technologists, and our Year Up interns to partner together earlier this year and host New York Times best-selling author Minda Harts, in which she shared her book and sage advice. You'll hear from Minda in a discussion with Francine over the lunch hour today. So good work is happening at PayPal. However, we must admit that women remain far too underrepresented in technology and many other business sectors, especially when it comes to leadership roles. As this holds even more true for Black, Latina, Asian, and Indigenous women. While there has been an increase in the numbers over the last 6 years, there's still a lot of room for improvement. That's one reason why we've started PayPal Women Luminaries program, our initiative to help young women develop the skills they need to pursue their passion for technology and become leaders in the field as well. Additionally, we support organizations such as She Codes, Black Girls Code in the United States and abroad, as you'll see in upcoming video, spurring future women leaders' desire to make an impact from their pursuits. PayPal is excited to be a part of the community of companies, non-profit organizations, and educational institutions that are making a difference. We are working to close the gender gap and advance careers for all women everywhere. And we are excited today to take part in this professional development program and experience for professional women and women of color in the workplace. We've known for years, as study after study shows, that companies with more diverse workforces perform better. We also know that companies with higher numbers of women in leadership positions outperform their competition. And still, we struggle to have representative gender equity and broad-based inclusion of Black, Latina, Asian, and Indigenous women, especially in tech. What contributes to this issue? Companies, leaders, and hiring managers are not being as intentional as we can be. 38% of senior level women currently mentor or sponsor one or more women of color, compared to only 23% of senior level men. Once again, this is about being intentional and about being accountable. As it specifically relates to the technology sector, we have our own challenges on top of all of this. A recent Women in Technology statistical study determined that women held less than 25% of all US tech jobs, compared to the overall number of women in the US workplace, although more than half the US workforce is composed of women. More recently, a 2020 Women in Technology study found that men outnumber women in the engineering field 4 to 1. That means 80% of those in the area are male while only 20% are female. Now, in the COVID-19 global pandemic days, rather than conference rooms, we are viewing screens during video conferences. Do we take notice of who's on the call? And perhaps who might be missing, or what perspectives and voices that we are losing out on? The answer is yes, we probably are. These figures I mentioned earlier help illustrate the impact of underrepresentation of women and women of color in the tech industry and how it impacts their development. We must do better, and we will. We can choose the uncomfortable path, the vulnerable path, the authentic path, and make conscious steps to make headway towards true inclusion through sponsorship, mentoring, and providing opportunities. That is why I'm here today as a leader and a representative of PayPal. We can build, support, and engage in employee-driven efforts tied to tangible results that help and advance women. Regardless of our role, we can help drive women's career advancement in a role as an advocate, ally, activist, or sponsor by amplifying the work of women and mentor women by providing professional guidance and support. And finally, we can create opportunities to develop and highlight women's skills, talents, and abilities through advocacy and activism at work and in external endeavors such as Sharpen Your Skills Professional Women's Advancement Summit. It's important for companies and leaders to support women and women of color in their advancement. I'm proud to support two of PayPal's Women in Technology, Nora Gresham and Warner Page, who will share their experiences and insights on separate panels during today's conference. By providing all women and women of color with sponsorship, mentorship, and opportunities for career advancement, we can transform today's workplace to achieve equity and become genuinely inclusive. With that, I want to welcome you all to the summit again. Thank you very much.
பிள்ளைங்க பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு மாதிரி ரொம்ப டவுன் ட்ராடன் ஃபேமிலி பேக்ரவுண்ட்லேருந்து வர பிள்ளைங்க தான் பண்ணிட்டு வீட்டு வேலை சமையல் குக்கிங்கு
This year, we had close to 40 children that came in from the school in Pioneer. Many times we see children who are actually seeing a laptop or a computer for the first time.
In our society, the girls tend to discontinue their education. This would be a motivation for them to continue. Girls in Technology is a program which is very close to my heart.
இதுக்கப்புறம் நீங்க என்ன பண்ணணும்? எல்லாரும் நல்லா படிக்கணும்.
This gives them a confidence that people are there to help for them, and they meet people who have faced similar problems like them.
கொஞ்சம் கண்ட்ரோல்ல நீங்க வெச்சுக்கணும்.
They get an opportunity to interact with many of our women leaders who really made it in their life. By seeing them, we are opening their mindset.
This does not end here. So we also continuously support them and ask them to reach out to us in case of any help they want in future.
The joy that we saw in their eyes when they left meant a lot to us.
செம்ம சொல்ல முடியாத அளவுக்கு செம்ம என்ஜாய்மெண்ட்டாக இருந்தது.
We wanted them to understand the importance of pursuing their education, having dreams and ambitions and working towards them.